Well, my name is Millhouse, and this is my graph of the thing about the thing. Well, if you know anything about Simpsons, this is Millhouse was showing his graph. But you know what? Millhouse has a thing. It's a real graph. Doesn't show much because there's no descript, no words to describe the different axes or anything. There's no title or anything either. However, it might be showing, displaying something, some real life situation, some story. And that's what we're going to work on today, is doing that, just what Millhouse did there. So we're going to take section 10C. We're going to be looking at drawing qualitative graphs. So we're going to actually draw them now, sketching them. Last time we talked about describing them. Now we're going to take a description and we're going to actually draw them. So our learning target is to sketch a graph of a function from a verbal description. Our success criteria kind of revolves around how we can go about doing this. So start with a graph with labeled axes. It's really helpful when you're reading the situation. Obviously read it, but break the description into smaller parts. And I'll explain what that means in a little bit. But if it's a whole long situation, break it into smaller parts so you can actually look for keywords in there and look for different ways where it might be steeper or less steep. And then go ahead and sketch those different parts. So taking a look here at your problem at the start of these notes gives you a situation. It says Angela and Lori are hiking a mountain. The beginning of the trail is not too steep. So I'm going to stop there. We said let's look for some keywords and break it into chunks. So this is going to be my first chunk. The beginning of the trail is not too steep, and they start at a quick pace. So a quick pace might be they're going up fast. This is I'm going to put a number 1 here. Number 2, they stop. Ooh, they stop and rest for several minutes. That means they're not climbing anymore. But then, so I'm going to put a 3 here. This is our third situation. Climb a steeper part of the trail at a slower pace until they reach the highest point of the trail. Next, 4, they rest again. So they're not going anywhere before climbing down at a constant rate. So that might be 5. Climbing down at a constant rate. Faster than they climbed the mountain. Ooh, yeah, let's underline that too. Faster than they climbed the mountain. Sketch a graph to show the distance compared to time. So first of all, let's take this situation. Think about what we're trying to actually find, which, again, it's talking about Lori and Angela hiking a mountain and then going back down. We're trying to kind of graph the situation of how quickly they're going up or down. So what information is important? Well, all of the stuff we underline, we want to know the different parts. We want to know how fast they're going up or down, because that'll give us a clue as to how to graph it. So let's take a look at it. If we make a little sketch of a graph, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to have 2 axes because it says show the graph, or sketch the graph to show the distance compared to time. So over time, how high are they? I can write here, distance. And we want to kind of title this as well. So hiking a mountain. We'll title this hiking a mountain. So a couple of tips that had to do with our success criteria. I would start by labeling the graph like we just did. It helps you understand kind of what you're comparing and how you can make the graph based on that. A lot of times time, this is a tip for you, time is almost always on the bottom because time goes on chronologically and something else is changing. 2, break the situation into smaller parts and then graph each part based on the rates described. And we kind of broke it apart already. So this first one we said, the beginning of the trail is not too steep and they start at a quick pace. So let's say a quick pace going up the hill. Here's my first chunk. They stop and rest for several minutes. So I'm going to show for several minutes as time is going on, they're not going up at all. So their distance stays the same. So there's, let's see, 1, 2 as they stop and rest. And then they climb at a steeper part of the trail at a slower pace. So 3 would be slower pace until they reach the highest point of the trail. So I'm going to say slower pace. So we're going to say this is the highest point of the trail. They rest again. So they're resting a little bit here. Not going up anywhere, not going down anywhere. But then they climb down at a constant rate faster than they climbed up the mountain. So that'll be our last thing. And it's a faster rate, so it's going to be steeper going down, faster going down. So it takes less time to get down than it took to get up. And that could be it. Those are my chunks. Broke it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chunks. No numbers for time, no numbers for distance. We don't know how high they went. We don't know how long it took them. We're just showing the general graph, the general rates at which they climbed. And it ties to what we talked about with linear functions too. The slopes. The higher the slope, the steeper it is. So even though this is downward, this is our the steepest one going downwards, so that would be the biggest numbered slope. Next biggest would be part 1, because it's the next steepest. 4 and 2 are going to be 0 slopes, and 3 is going to be somewhere in the middle. So why don't you take that information that we just did and turn the page and go to analyze it, or actually I think it's on the same page, but in the analyze it says you can break it into parts and analyze each section. So this is exactly what we just talked about. And again, the graph looks pretty similar to what we did here. We did time on the bottom and distance on the left. We actually added a title because titles are great. This is just breaking up into the 5 sections. The beginning of the trail was a quick pace. It was the slope of the second would be steep. Then they rest, so it's horizontal. It's not going to be going up at all. Then they were at a pace that's slower, so it's not as steep. Then they rest, horizontal line, and they go down at the quickest pace. So I would really, if you don't have these written down, write down these key suggestions right here in your notes. Add those to when you do a graph. Because what I'm going to have you do now is go to the next part where it says connect it. And it says now you can sketch a graph of the situation similar to one and do this on your own. Okay? I'd like you to try this one on your own before checking. It says Mrs. Elijah does errands on her lunch break. She starts walking quickly, but then has to slow down as the sidewalk gets crowded. She stops at the store. Keyword stops. Picks up a few items. She walks quickly back to the office since there's no longer a crowd. So number 8, describe the first segment. What should the slope of the graph be like? Would it be steep, not real steep, going positive slope, negative slope? 9, what should the slope of the graph for the second segment look like? 3, describe the third part of the story and tell what the graph looks like there. Or number 11, next, describe the graph for the last segment. Once you do that, I'd like you to actually, in number 12, sketch the graph. Okay? Make sure you have labels, axes labeled, and a title. And then finally, I'd like you to do the last situation and just make a graph for that. Okay? That's all we're doing for today. I'd like you to try those on your own, and those are all dealing with this learning target of sketching a graph from a verbal description. And again, breaking it down with our success criteria today. All right, that's it for section 10C on drawing or sketching qualitative graphs.